kick back, relax, crack open a cold one. We're about to embark on a journey spanning over 23 years, over 40 seasons, over 50 twists, all in the span of one video. Internet, my name is Peridiam, and welcome to the ultimate tier ranking for every twist in Survivor history. With so much content to sift through, I'm not wasting much time here. I have got 7 tiers on the board. The better the twist, the higher the tier. We're gonna go mostly chronologically through each season. I've referenced the Survivor Wiki to help me sort this out, and if there are any potential twists that you don't see me include, there's almost definitely a reason for that. Either it's too similar to something else, we're splitting hairs, or I don't care enough about it. I'm also not going to be including most season themes, but I did make several videos years ago ranking that topic if you'll want to check it out. Yes, I know, we could split this video 1,000 ways to Brooklyn if we tried, but as a wise man once said,
let's not get bogged down in the details.
So, with all that out of the way, let's get on with the ranking. Amusingly enough, we have Season 2, the Australian Outback, extending its length from 39 to 42 days. So most seasons of Survivor go for 39 days, some go for 26, but in this peculiar case, this one season went for 42 days. A very minor twist and a minor adjustment, I'm sticking this twist in the C tier. It's fine, it prolongs the finale, but otherwise, it's neither here nor there. The Tribe Switch, first seen in Season 3. There are many versions of the Tribe Switch, such as the Tribe Shuffle, the Tribe Swap, the Tribe Absorption. They're all pretty similar, and I'm bundling them into a single label. I have the Tribe Swap twist in the A tier. It's good, it's fun, it shuffles the social deck. It can be done poorly and can be unfair when it's less random, but overall, I like it about once a season or so. Certainly not 3 times. The Summit. This is when players from different tribes meet up and chat for a bit. Sometimes over food, other times over Shipwheels. Season 33 had them do it for no reason other than to just fill airtime. Hey Gen Xer, do you say you with 3 letters or 1? In some of the older seasons, we had the Merge Summit where a couple of players from different tribes met up, and that is slightly different from what we see in modern seasons with the Shipwheel or the Bags, but it's a similar twist where cross-tribal alliances can be formed and tribal lines are blurred, and for that, I also have it in the A tier. I think there's a lot of room to make this twist work, and it has worked over the years. The Schoolyard pick is very rarely used in the show, but I kind of want it to come back. I doubt it will, as it gives way too much power to the cast, but when players are allowed to pick their own tribes, I get excited to see how much drama is gonna unfold. There's strategy, there's wild results, and it shakes things up right away. Put it in B tier. The Mutiny twist, where players are allowed to abandon their tribes and join another one at a certain time. This was used in several seasons, Thailand, Pearl Islands, but most will remember it from Cook Islands. This twist it's okay. It has the potential to create lopsided results, but can also show players' hands early. It's not an amazing twist, but it's good enough for me to land in the B tier. The Fake Merge, or the Delayed Merge, where a merge is supposed to happen and then it doesn't. Commonly associated with Season 5 Thailand, I don't love this twist. Let the merge happen when it's gonna happen. Toying with the players is just overcomplicating it for little payoff. I'm putting this one in the D tier. Kidnapping. Wait, what? Where a player is taken from one tribe to another, usually for a brief period of time before they return back to their original tribe. Pearl Islands in China boast this one the most, and I think it's an okay twist. It allows the player to meet the others, kind of like the Summit. It can have other twists tied to it, such as idle clues, and it's fun to see the tribe colors start to blend together. Put it in the B tier. The Outcasts. Great TV, which is gonna save it from being really low in the tiers, but overall it is unbalanced, it's unfair, and it dramatically changes the show into something else. I'm happy with it happening once, I guess, but never again. Even though I love Pearl Islands, I am going to be putting this twist in the E tier. Results can't dictate everything. The instant elimination from the premiere episode of Survivor Palau. Wanda and Jonathan deserve better. This twist is instant F tier. Exile Island is a big one that we've seen a bunch of times, and I like it. It puts a spotlight on a player, can act as a summit, can provide extra twists to work alongside it, and it's a cool concept. It's not overbearing either, which I appreciate, but sometimes it does get repetitive, so I'm putting it in the B tier. Tribe captains, such as with Stephanie and Bobby John, or Rob and Russell, or Coach and Ozzy. I'm not a big proponent of mixing newbies and returnees, and I think it's kinda spotlight stealing to mix them in. The narrative gets hijacked instantly, but at the same time, it can produce interesting dynamics. It's not really overpowered as the returnees are outnumbered, and I usually like the seasons where captains exist. There's some good, there's some bad. I've got it in the C tier. The underpowered hidden immunity idol that Gary Hawkins found in Season 11 Guatemala is the first showing of the idol in Survivor, and it's pretty damn weak. That said, it's not broken, it's not busted, it's kind of boring. I've got it in C tier. The Super Idol, on the other hand, from Season 12 and 13, and also Kagian 28, it's the exact opposite. This thing is totally broken beyond belief. You can play it after the votes are read. It's brain dead on arrival. There's not that much thought to it. It's just a giant shield that's never been penetrated, and for good reason. It's a bad twist. Same for the co-wrong version with the combined idols. This, to me, is an F-tier twist that's just too powerful to be necessary. Now we have the bottle twist from Cook Islands, which is basically another form of the instant elimination, except it's pretty random and happens to a tribe that loses a challenge. It's a bad idea. It clearly serves to just muck up the game, and it's also in the F tier. But let's talk about the final three. First seen in Season 13 Cook Islands, it dramatically changed the show going forward. The final immunity challenge that was originally at the final three is now less important, which I don't think is the worst thing ever, but the jury is no longer deciding who gets voted out last, which kind of throws the formula of the show for a loop. It does somewhat allow for stronger players to reach the end, or at least that's the idea anyway, which can work in favor of good TV, but then it also allows larger alliances to form, which can be kind of boring and bad TV. There's always like a 0 vote player who just doesn't need to be there. I personally love the tense social maneuvering required to make it to the final two. It's very dramatic, and it's dulled a bit with the final three. That said, it's not the worst thing ever. I've never really been convinced that it moves the needle in the right direction, but because it's so baked into the formula of the show, and I'm okay with it at this point, I'll settle for B tier. We have the haves versus have-nots from Season 14 Fiji, and wow, was this twist terrible. Wait, okay, let me get this straight. On a show all about being a have-not, what if we gave half the cast a bunch of luxuries to make their lives easier? Yeah, what if? Oh right, they utterly steamroll. Nobody asked for this, I'm putting this in the F tier. On the flip side, we have the current day hidden immunity idol, also first introduced in Season 14 Fiji, and let me tell ya, they finally nailed what makes the idol so good. The suspense, the drama, the thrill of the hunt, of finding the idol, of correctly playing it. Again and again and again, we've seen it produce great moves, great moments, great bouts of TV, and Survivor at its finest. The idol has been here to stay unquestionably, and yeah, without a doubt, this is going in the S tier. It may just be the king of the hill when all's said and done. Fans versus favorites. Not the seasons, just the twist of the cast being half returnees instead of a couple. Kinda like taking the captain's twist and cranking it up to 11, it's very imbalanced and usually tilts the board in favor of the returnees. They hijack the spotlight and half the cast just kind of fades away. Big Brother has shown it can work, but it's less likely to. That said, I love Micronesia and I like the fans, and I think if you cast the fans well, you can negate some of the imbalance, which is why I am putting this in D tier. The first impressions twist is something we see in Tocantins or Kagian at the very beginning of the premiere. Players are usually voted out, but then have a shot to get an advantage or help the tribe. I'm not really sure why this twist isn't used more often. I kind of like it, although it doesn't really leave a big impression, but so I've got it in the B tier. Now we first see the joint tribal, not that kind Fabio, in Season 19 Samoa, but it really doesn't take effect until Game Changers. Basically, both tribes go to the same tribal council, not a double tribal, but kind of like a pre-merge merge vote. It basically pits two tribes against one another in a vote, which basically does sound like the merge, but they're not merged yet. I don't care for this twist. It's not awful, but it's not great. It's a really messy time, strategy is tough to track, and it feels needlessly needlessly complicated for the sake of it. I've got it in the D tier. The Medallion of Power, as Jeff would say. It's from Nicaragua. It's boring. Honestly, it sounds more exciting than it has any right to. This was a very quick one-off twist that kind of gets thrown in the bin, repeatedly bashed like a dead horse, but it basically allows a tribe to get an advantage at the beginning of a challenge, and it's very easy to game, it's not good TV. It's in the E tier. Redemption Island. Oh boy. I have a funny feeling that if this were 2011, it would unanimously be in the F tier. But it's 2023, so now I'm gonna get some pushback. It's not really a secret, but I don't really love this twist. It works on season 27, Blood vs. Water, but overall, as a twist in and of itself, regardless of the season, I just think it takes up too much time. It kills the buzz of the vote at the end of the episode. It's a wet fart of elimination with the buff burning. What kind of climax is that? What is going on with Survivor? And it's really just there to keep the returning players on the screen a little longer. I think when combined with the Blood vs. Water twist, it works, but on its own, separated from that, it's F tier. And it was always there. Meanwhile, I am begging the producers to try the One World twist one more time. Every player is together on the same beach from the very beginning. We kind of saw this in Palau and Fiji, but the actual season of One World tried it out, and it wasn't bad. It's actually really interesting to see the entire cast mingle together and form roving pockets of groupings. It doesn't even need to have men versus women either. I think it would get complicated, but the sheer amount of social politicking would just be off the charts in modern Survivor, and I want to see that. Heck, I already indulge in Big Brother every summer, and that's basically the same thing. I have got the One World twist in A tier. The Blood vs. Water twist is peculiar. Family members or loved ones competing against each other. It's produced 2 solid seasons, but when I take the twist at face value, it kind of just feels like any other casting twist. It does balance out the power with returnees because the other tribe are their loved ones, and it's unique to see the dynamic play out in season 29 with all newbies. I guess I'm not sure there's anything compelling enough here for me to put it higher than just C tier. It's fine, not bad, it's just nothing stellar either. And now we're going to be entering the section of the tier where we're getting into the weeds of the parchment readings. We have got the extra vote, the steal a vote, the reward steal, the vote blocker, the advantage menu for crying out loud. They're all pretty similar, and I've got them all in the C tier. They don't add much to the show except to take up time with the finding and the reading and the whiffing. They can create imbalanced outcomes. They generally don't stick the landing, but they're also kind of harmless for the most part, and I'm neither here nor there about them at this point in Survivor history. That said, the juror removal twist from Co Wrong is garbage. This twist pops up one time, and it should have just been a final 2 at the end without a juror having to leave. Don't rob a juror of their voting power. They earn that. What are we doing with this? Yup. F tier. I am convinced that the legacy advantage is the Medallion of Power's evil twin brother. It's just as lame, but lasts twice as long, and nobody cares about it. It's not so powerful or broken, it's just a free idol at the merge or the finale. It's a twist designed to have little agency and only work exactly when the producers want it to. I hate the philosophy behind it, and I do not want it back. E tier. And now we have another big one coming up, the Final 4 Fire Making Challenge. Okay, and so I'm gonna try and be reasonable here because I know there are a lot of people who do actually like this. I think this twist generally just fixes what isn't broken. It's just another buffer for bigger players to reach the end. It does reduce the power of the Final 4 immunity necklace, which I don't think is necessarily just a bad thing. It does also open doors for what you can do with the necklace besides just wearing it. No pun intended, but I have warmed up to the fire making a bit over the years, but definitely not enough to make it go any higher than C tier at best. Ghost Island. It's like a combination of Exile Island and the Summit games, but spookier. I like that it implements risk and reward. It's a fun little game. I don't think people should go when there's no game to be played because, I don't know, it's just a weird choice of TV, but otherwise, I'm gonna put it in the B tier. We also have this new age post-merge tribe swap that began with season 36, where Two tribes come to exist post-merge, and they usually both vote. On its own, I don't mind it existing, but my problem is the individual portion where players are playing independently is important to the game and the show, and the narrative, and this twist very, very heavily disrupts it. It can eliminate some of the most important votes of a season, like the final 9 vote. You put this twist in Winners at War, you don't get Tony's 4-3-2. I initially wanted to put this in the B tier, but I'm lowering it to C. The Idol Nullifier. Because we have so many idols in the game that we now need twists to counter twists. Or maybe just have less idols? No, we need more parchment. I've got the Nullifier in E tier. It's just not worth it. The Edge of Extinction. I've talked at great length about my thoughts on this twist for both Season 38 and 40, and I can easily say, this is in the F tier. I will not be taking any further questions. Island of the Idols. Similar to Ghost Island, except with former players acting as NPCs handing out side quests. Just like Ghost Island, I'm putting this in the B tier for pretty much all the same reasons. Season 40 brought with it a few new twists, and the first big one was fire tokens. I feel like fire tokens never lived up to their full potential and were a case of waiting to let Jeff cook with what he wanted to do with them, but now they don't exist. They were fine, a little harmless. They introduced the word bequeath into my vocabulary all the time. A little corny, but whatever. C tier. Safety without power first appeared in Island of the Idols, and then we saw Jeremy use it in Winners at War. And it's kind of a decent dilemma. I didn't really dislike it. A player can earn safety by walking away from tribal. They can't vote, but they can't be voted for. It's kind of begging to be in the C tier because of how it works, a little give, a little take, and so yeah, straight up in the middle, that's where I'm gonna put it. The 50-50 coin that Michelle flipped is basically an idol that has a 50% chance to work. Do you stack votes on the holder knowing there's a chance they won't be safe? I think that this is actually kind of cool, and I would like to see it come back, so I'm going to be putting it in the B tier for now. I think it's got promise. The extortion advantage that's used against Tony, however, has no promise. It works in tandem with fire tokens, and it's just too much. You basically force a player to lose everything at your own whim for a certain number of tokens. It's like holding up a kid at Chuck E. Cheese. And if he doesn't pay up, he can't play in any of the games the rest of the party. Who doesn't want to see Tony participate in these games? Wait, but I want to see Tony pick up the mallet and play whack-a-mole. I'm putting the extortion advantage in the E tier. And now we're in the new era of Survivor from 41 onward, and we have got a bunch of stuff to sift through. 26 days, similar to 42 days. It's a different speed, it's faster, it's still the same game, albeit a third shorter. Whether you prefer it or not, and personally I would prefer to go back to 39, I am putting this in the C tier. Shot in the Dark is kind of boring. Maybe that's just me, but it kind of feels like a speed bump at Tribal Council. And so far, I think it just kills the buzz of a vote, as the odds of succeeding aren't high. I'd rather everyone vote over this existing, but it's not broken, so I'll put it in the D tier. The Beware advantage is hokey and a little annoying with the smaller tribes. On its own, it's not the worst thing ever. Be careful what you wish for. But currently, it's been something I don't want to see back, or I look forward to seeing back, and I don't think it has a long shelf life either. It's in the D tier. Knowledge is power, is quite powerful in the right hands. That being said, the best part about Kip is how many times it's now whiffed. I think it's just a little too particular to exist in Survivor, which is why I have it in the D tier. It's kind of like a better version of the Idol Nullifier, but it's still kind of meh. Earn the Merge is on paper kind of harmless. It's a tribe swap in place of the Merge. But I would say that's also the problem, because the Merge should be really fun, and instead this twist just teases the Merge for an episode. It is such a lateral move that may epitomize modern Survivor more than any other twist. I've got it in the D tier because it's unnecessary, and I don't really look forward to it, but it's not the worst thing ever. Speaking of the worst thing ever, we have the Hourglass, where the rules are made up and the results don't matter. There is no drama with the Hourglass, it just stalls the inevitable, and it's one of the worst parts of the philosophy behind this new era. It is spinning wheels and going nowhere except in the F tier. Same thing goes for Do or Die. Wow, we are on a hot streak with this new era. Do or Die is miserable. I like it even less than the Hourglass, if only because now players can get eliminated by pure randomness, by chance. Not losing a vote, not losing immunity, losing the entire damn game because they picked the wrong box. This might be a little bit of hyperbole, but it is absolute poison to the show, and I hope it never returns and it's going straight in the F tier. Straight up, it's going in the garbage. And that is just Survivor 41. In 42, we saw the Advantage Amulet, which was kind of like putting a bounty on each holder's head. If a player holding an amulet was voted out, the amulet would get stronger. I think it's a pretty nifty idea, and I was hoping it would pan out, but then it didn't. It wasn't bad, it just went nowhere. It's a pretty complicated twist, but not overly so, and it spices up the intrigue of whether you should work together or not. I'm going to be putting it in the B tier. Choose Your Champion in 43 is another harmless twist that sort of works as an idol, but you need to bet on a horse in the upcoming challenge. I don't think it's a very exciting twist. I didn't really feel like it was needed in the episode, and I personally don't care to see it come back, but otherwise it was fine. I'll put it in the C tier. 44 had the banked vote advantage where you could not vote and then get an extra vote going forward. We also saw this in season 35, and I like the idea of intentionally not voting instead of being forced to not vote, and kind of like the extra vote or vote steal, I'm putting this in the C tier. I think it's okay. And then lastly, we have this random twist, the inheritance advantage, also from 44. It's kind of like that pink puffball video game character Kirby. If you play this twist, this advantage, you can absorb all other advantages played at a tribal council. It might put a huge target on your back, and your bag and your pockets will be stuffed to the brim, but think of the airtime you'll get. I think this advantage is kind of cut from a similar cloth as knowledge is power, and I'm not really excited by it on the onset, but we also didn't really see it do anything. I think like many advantages, it just distracts us from what makes Survivor so good, and it gets in the way more than it makes for good TV. I have got it in the D tier. Whew! That's it. Those are over 50 Survivor twists, ranked and placed into tiers. This is a lot to talk about, so I'm gonna now turn this over to you all and say, tell me what you think. I want your thoughts on literally every twist. All of them. Go for it. And if there's any twists that you think I should have included, feel free to put them down there and tell me what you think about those. A big thank you to my patrons for opting for safety without power. You took a shot in the dark with my Patreon and it paid off. Drop your buffs, you've earned your merge. Or wait, no, pick them up. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to message Jeff this tier list and advocate for only the best ones to continue. And I will see you in the next one. Once I wonder what the next twists are gonna be and which tiers I would have had them in.
I mean, that's just a simple question. I honestly don't care. I just want to know. Explain your logic in the voting. That's all. I know.
You know, we're the low men on the totem pole.
That's okay, T.
We
Ravenna,
like
that's all
you
we
guys
needed to
would use
hear.
the power over us to say, you do this for us.
You wanted
but
to
we're
use the
not-
power over to screw us for the game. I understand that. It's so funny, though, T-Bird. It's like, you know, y'all talked about character and loyalty and honesty and all this stuff, and it just proved right now that, you know, you guys just are full of crap.
Oh yeah, they definitely said up mine, up Silas. They weren't here to play the game last night. You know, they were there for revenge, for them to show, kiss my ass, you know. Again, it's a game and you know, no big deal.
Pick 3 from your tribe to go on a quest.
Vote or draw straws and send them on their way. The other 3 wait, but for what, we won't say.
It's showtime!
As you guys have certainly figured out by now, the game of Survivor is always changing, and it's about to change again. If you guys could give me your buffs. Silas, Teresa, Frank, you guys are now members of Baran.
Oh my God.
Kelly?
It was at this moment he knew. He f***ed up.
Smokes.